One of the most important aspects of leadership is trust. And part of that is that as a leader, you need to be able to trust the people you lead. I've seen firsthand what happens when you don't. Leaders that don't trust anyone around them tend to divide and conquer. They keep information to themselves and they generally do everything they can to destroy any psychological safety that their team might have had. Of course, you can be too trusting to the point of gullibility, but if your default is to trust until you're given a reason not to, then I think you're probably doing okay. But anyway, in this video, I want to talk about trust in the other direction, the one that you have less direct choice about, how much people trust you. In a sense, the answer to this could be very short and very simple. Do what you say you're going to do. And that is certainly a part of it. It's a big part of it, but it's not the whole picture. For example, if you only rarely commit to doing anything yourself, it's hard for people to know whether they can trust you or not. And yes, I said earlier that we should default to trusting, but while I think that's sensible advice for new leaders, you can't count on it from the people around you, which means that it's sensible to act in a way that is likely to engender as much well-earned trust as possible. Having said that, being reliable, being known as someone that can be counted on, is the first and most important part of earning trust. So that means, number one, deliver on your promises. Show that you are dependable by following through on your commitments. And by the way, that means not always saying yes to everything unless you're really sure you can follow through on everything you've said yes to. Number two, own your actions. Take full responsibility for your actions and your decisions, both successes and failures. Don't wash your hands of something when it looks like it's going south. And then crucially, number three, acknowledge your mistakes. When you get something wrong, be humble and honest about it. Learn from it and talk about it. Don't brush it under the carpet. Don't pretend it never happened. Don't pretend you did it that way on purpose. And most importantly, don't pretend it was someone else's fault. So building trust requires you to follow through, to live up to your promises, but it also requires straightforwardness. And the first part of that is to practice transparency. Share relevant information openly with your team about organizational goals, changes, and challenges as much as you can. Number two, communicate honestly. Deliver both positive and constructive feedback with tact and sincerity. Number three, embrace feedback. Actively seek, listen to, and learn from feedback from your team to improve your leadership. Number four, be approachable. Create a welcoming and friendly environment so that your team feels comfortable approaching you. And number five, listen actively. Give your full attention when team members speak, demonstrating genuine respect and interest. Trust doesn't just mean believing someone will do what they say. It's just as important that your team can trust that you'll listen to them and take their thoughts and feedback seriously as that you'll do what you say you'll do. And if they don't feel like they can come and talk to you when they need to, that is an absence of trust. So building trust takes follow through and straightforwardness, but it also requires you to be a supportive champion of your team. Number one, show empathy. Understand and acknowledge your team's feelings and perspectives, demonstrating your human side. So this is about helping your team to trust you with the less straightforward stuff, personal challenges, concerns about colleagues, and that kind of thing. It's incredibly easy to show someone that you don't want this kind of thing to be brought to you just by a little twitch of your mouth or by your words and actions when they do. So when someone plucks up the courage to talk to you about something that is obviously difficult to talk about, give them your full attention, put your phone away, be empathetic, be kind. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It doesn't mean you have to solve their problem. And a corollary of what I said earlier about not making promises you can't keep is that it's better to admit that you're out of your depth and that you'll need to seek advice than to pretend to know what to do. And when someone does bring you something challenging, you should almost certainly, number two, offer support. Provide guidance, resources, and encouragement to help the people in your team succeed, especially during challenging times. Again, your team might know that you do what you say you're going to do, but they won't fully trust you if your actions are always aimed at helping yourself, never them. Finally, number three, and I hope this one goes without saying, recognize contributions. Regularly acknowledge and appreciate your team's efforts and achievements through verbal praise, thanks, and appropriate rewards. And not just in private. You'll have heard, no doubt, the adage that you should praise in public and criticize in private. That's almost always good advice, but it can go further. Telling a senior colleague, for example, about a great piece of work that Maria has done might not be visible to Maria or her peers, but in the right circumstances, it can have a big impact. If you take one thing away from this video, it's that trust is complex and needs to be earned. You can't just do a good job at delivery. You also have to build the right kind of environment and relationships that enable your team to thrive. Another behavior that I don't think enough leaders exhibit, but which I think if done well can help to build trust, is saying sorry. If you want to hear my thoughts about that, check out the video that's on screen now. And if you have any thoughts on the subject of earning trust, please do leave them in the comments below. I'd really love to hear from you. Bye. See you soon.